JFK bombshell. If you guys haven't heard, apparently it has finally happened. Donald Trump released hundreds, if not thousands, of files about the JFK situation. He promised he would. He did. And a lot of the, what people will call conspiracies, are seeming to be confirmed. Right? Go ahead. Let's play this. This is from, what is this?
Sky News.
Sky News.
Insisted that they've told us everything they could about JFK's assassination, the 9/11 terrorist attack, and COVID-19. Well, in news that should surprise absolutely no one, they were lying to us. Governments were keeping the truth hidden in the dark. Now, with President Trump in office, we are finally getting some transparency.
First of all, Sky News. There's no us here.
Well, that's true.
Talking about a whole foreign government.
Y'all in Australia. What y'all talking about?
Anna Paulina Luna will lead the task force on the declassification of federal secrets. And in her press conference today, she did not hold back declaring that we've been treated like children for too long.
This will be a relentless pursuit of truth and transparency, and we will not stop until the American people have the answers they deserve. We will cut through the bureaucracy, challenge the stonewalling, and ensure that the American people finally get the truth that they have been denied for too long. If we are to endure and thrive as a nation, we must restore trust through transparency. The American people must be trusted to think for themselves, to form their own judgments from the truth that they are entitled to know. We've been treated like children for too long and kept in the dark by those we elected to serve us.
People can think for themselves. What a concept. The truth has been covered up for far too long, and that is about to change. The investigations will look into the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and MLK. It'll also look at UAPs, the Epstein client list, the origins of COVID-19, and the 9/11 files. Now, the first investigation will be on...
Hold on. They're letting the dam loose.
Yeah. They're unloading the clip.
They're unloading the clip. Wow.
Like Bush did 9/11.
I don't know if they're gonna find that. You know what they are gonna find about that? That dude definitely was incompetent and let some stuff slide that he shouldn't have let slide. MLK, I think you're gonna see the CIA involved in that.
Or the FBI. Which one was
or
it?
the FBI. It was either, I think it was the FBI. I think you're
Yeah.
right. We're about to, and she mentioned UFOs, 9/11. Wow. Okay.
Oh.
So the first thing is, I think that JFK files are coming out. I'm already starting to hear stuff about it. I haven't looked at them myself, but I'm already starting to hear murmurings about stuff that people have been saying for a while that seem to be true. Let's see what they're reporting here.
JFK's assassination. And the head of the task force has just revealed, from what she's seen so far, what she's discovered, she believes there were two shooters.
Oh! Yo! They gaslit us!
Wow. That's crazy.
How long did they gaslight us?
Like, it's impossible for there to be two shooters.
Lee Harvey Oswald makes this incredible shot. Have you been there? You haven't been there. Were you there with me when I went? I went and like walked through old downtown Dallas, and you could see where it was, and you could see where JFK was, and all of it, bro. That's a tricky shot with the type of firearm he was using. So folks have been saying, probably two. You hear other shots, and the dude gets whacked right after. Odd.
Yeah, Harvey Oswald got whacked in prison? Was it
like within, I want to say within a week.
Did he get whacked in prison, or was
no,
it while
like
they were
he
walking?
was captured,
right?
yeah, and they was walking, and they
And someone,
yeah.
wow, dude.
So there's a second person, bro.
Yeah. And okay, I just finished watching Oppenheimer.
Okay,
it's about the creation of the atomic bomb.
Yep.
And there's a little hint at some craziness. Basically, this one guy, Lewis Strauss, is doing his hearing with the Congress to be on the cabinet for Truman.
Okay.
And they bring up the Oppenheimer situation. One of the senators votes him away.
Okay.
And was like, no, we're not comfortable with his involvement. I think he was CIA or FBI related, whatever. And close to the end of the movie, he goes, what was that senator's name? Who voted me away? And like, it's a young guy trying to get some political clout. His name's John F. Kennedy. And so even the movie Oppenheimer that I just finished is hinting at like a lot of internal turmoil and resentment towards a Kennedy. So then
at the very least, so that doesn't mean that the United States government took him out, but at the very least, we now know there was more than one person behind it.
Yeah.
What they're revealing. Go ahead and play this.
First investigation will be announced, but it's going to be covering on a thorough investigation into the John F. Kennedy assassination. And I can tell you, based on what I've been seeing so far, the initial hearing that was actually held here in Congress was actually faulty in the single bullet theory. I believe that there were 2 shooters, and we should be finding more information as we are able to gain access into the SCIF, hopefully before the
Holy
files are actually-
moly! Holy moly! I think they know who the other person is.
What do you think RFK's thinking? Junior.
Finally. Hey, his voice is coming back.
That my uncle, ever since my uncle passed away, I have had a beef with Red Dye 3. So it's good to hear that they're finally releasing the files.
Oh my God. Do you practice these?
No.
Files.
It's just good to know that now that the files are being released, that there are been 2 shooters, and I knew it all along. But this will not distract me from my one mission is banning vaccines of all kinds.
That's a lot of work. It's a lot of diaphragmatic throat work right there. Pause.
Oh, pause. Pause is right. Oh my gosh,
John
I got
F. Kennedy
tears in
was
my
riding
eyes.
in a presidential motorcade in Dallas, Texas, when he was shot and killed on November 22, 1963. And
Pause
after
it. You know what's crazy is that this man's assassination was caught on camera.
Yeah.
Like, when you really think about it, like, that is dark, bro. Like, his kids, his wife, his grandkids grew up, and I'm sure as many of us have
seen
this man's skull get exploded on TV, and his poor wife trying to hold together.
It was like a Mythbusters episode.
Oh my gosh,
and
bro.
then she bails. She realizes like he's toast within seconds, and she's like, and so then she starts climbing off the back of the motorcade car.
Yeah, it's dark, man. Oh man, so like that's a very like, I think to see anyone like transition is pretty traumatic. But I think for the nation, because, and by the way, that didn't happen when it didn't happen in real time, meaning that the video was released years later.
Yeah.
So like no one knew or no one saw it initially. It was the years later they finally aired it. But for a nation to see a president go out like that had to have been a number, because you don't.
They have a delay nowadays.
What
You
do you
know,
mean?
the TV delay, and
Yeah,
then they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, it'll never be released. You'll never see it.
Yeah, yeah. So that's really dark when you really think about it. Like that's some dark stuff. Go ahead.
decades of government reluctance to release all of the documents related to his assassination, we are finally getting them. Now, the Warren Commission determined that JFK was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald, who acted alone, but the 1969 report by the US House Select Committee on Assassinations concluded that Kennedy was likely assassinated as a result of a conspiracy. Now, Anna Paulina Luna has said that for years, a certain narrative
So
has been
they said the word
Likely assassinated
conspiracy
because of a conspiracy.
Sheesh.
and repeated in the media without the full
Pause it.
truth.
I was going to say this, but I didn't want to get into the weeds of a very weird topic. Thaddeus dropped a super chat on us, and he said she climbed on the back of the car to retrieve part of his skull.
Are you sure? Really?
That's.
Is that what she said?
I mean, I don't know if that's
Like
what she
literally.
said, but yeah, go ahead.
And she hopes that all the theories that have been flying around out there will be put to bed.
There's been conflicting evidence, and I think that even the FBI at the time reported some anomalies in the initial autopsy at Bethesda, Maryland. All of those, though, seem to have been rinsed and repeated in the media to push a certain narrative that we don't agree with. And so I think that in order to put to bed some of the theories that have been out there on John F. Kennedy, we have to know the full truth. And the full truth starts with transparency, and that's why these files is so important for the American people to read for themselves.
Finally, it only took 61 years and a president as tough as Donald Trump for us to get here. This is what will be included in the task force, with the hearings expected to start next month.
Based on what we're actually looking to do with the JFK investigation, I'm looking at to actually bring in some of the attending physicians at the initial assassination, and then also people that had been on the various commissions looking into, like the Warren Commission looking into the initial assassinations.
Donald Trump followed through with his campaign promise and ordered the declassification and release of secret files on the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and MLK in January. Now, since then, the FBI has discovered...
Donald Trump W.
I heard on the PBD podcast that Trump is trying to deliver on all of his promises within the first 100 days.
That's a W.
So it's like it's like he's approaching this term with a business mindset, which is like you buy something, you want immediate gratification, Amazon model.
Yeah, I mean, the 100-day sprint isn't uncommon for most presidents. They're trying to get as much knocked out in that 100 days because after that, whatever you can't get passed with executive order, you got to go through Congress and Senate, and that takes forever. So that's a big W.
That's crazy.
Yeah, go ahead, play some more of this.
Nearly 2,500 new records relating to JFK's assassination.
This is not a conspiracy theory investigating committee. We're actually looking to present truth to the American people. And it's in my opinion that no one person elected to office is more important or more qualified to look at the information that they've been hiding from us. And so we look to push for that transparency.
Here's Donald Trump speaking about the JFK files during the election campaign.
They called me, a lot of good people called me, people that that you would find reasonable people. And they asked me not to do it. So I said, well, we'll close it for another time. But if I win, I'm going to open them up. I'm just going to open enough.
Why didn't you open it up the first time?
Because a lot of times,
what was the hesitation?
Addresses, people that are still living. There are people that are affected, and there could be some national security reason that that I don't have to necessarily know about. But some very good, talented people asked me not to do it. I opened it up, and then they said, "Would it be possible for us to do that a different day?"
How much of it did you read into?
I think it's going to be just fine to open it. Let me put it that way. I think it's fine. It's going to be time.
I bet you the other people involved have probably passed at this point. And that's why there probably was less push to not release this.
Yeah. Or he's just trying to win the election. And he's like,
well, I mean,
I promise I'll release it.
He already won the election. He didn't have to release it, but he kept his promise.
No, I'm saying when he said that, though.
Yeah. So the question that people have is Epstein files.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Are those coming?
I think, what would it do? Would we be able to get people arrested? Or is it just like,
I don't think so.
They're all weirdos?
We all know they're all weirdos. You know what I would like to see? I would like to see what is the technical name for it? Iran-Contra, the CIA being complicit in allowing cheap cocaine to flood Los Angeles and Oakland and Sacramento and the fighting the Contras and Nicaragua. And if the CIA, how we know they were complicit, but how complicit were they and how much did they know and how much did they not care to allow cheap coke, which then became crack and then launched a crack epidemic only to then turn around and punish poor people in these black and brown neighborhoods with the war on drugs. Like how much of that was connected? I would love to hear that. But ultimately, two passages for us to think about. I think we know this, or we should know this, right? Ephesians 5:15, so be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. And make most of every opportunity in these evil days. Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. So make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. We know that the days are evil. We know that things are not great. We know that we live in a dark world. We live in a broken world. And then if you go down to the next chapter, Ephesians 6 and 11 and 12, Ephesians 6 and 12, for we are not fighting against flesh and blood, enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in the dark world, and against evil spirits in the heavenly places.
Ain't that right?
So we should know this intrinsically. We should know that the world is influenced in an unseen realm, the spirit realm, by forces that are not on God's team and God's side. And so what happens when these people become influential and get power? What do you think they're going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to do some evil stuff.
Straight Nephilim running the CIA.
They're going to do some evil stuff, I think my excitement for this is also cautioned by a weird concern that this stuff will get people back into the end of every conspiracy ends with "and the Jews did it." That makes me uncomfortable, because I could see it going there. I could see people reading these declassified documents and being like, "And it's those J's," and I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that it has to always be them at the end of every, like that's not fair to them, especially in light of everything that's happening, especially in light of, right now Britain has a massive exodus of Jewish people.
Britain.
Yeah, Britain.
Because They're not liking the Jays.
because of jihadis.
Whoa.
And because the most popular name in Britain last year was Muhammad.
Oh, wow.
In terms of babies born. And so there's a lot of British Jews that are leaving, you know.
Wow.
And they don't feel like they're supported. So like that's the only part. Like I could just see people taking this and running with it and being like, see, we told you, you know. So